Hello everyone. So in this video I will cover long-awaited topic about formations. I implemented quite a unique way to make formations in any kind of assumed form. For example, it can be that formation looks like not just a square formation, but also let's say a circle or a rectangle. And moreover, I allow developers to use their own shape of formation in terms of their textures. So for example, here I made 5 textures, which basically shows the formation, and here we have, let's say, on this texture, what would be circle formation, and white color means that units should be in this place, while black colors means that zones are forbidden. For example, here I have rectangle formation, which is very simple, just to highlight some pixels in white and leave the black ones there. So how it actually works. Let's have a look. Here I made formation game object. Where is it? I cannot see at the moment. It should be here. And here I have this formation mask texture, which allows to choose one of it. So let's grab this one and use it for now. Once you've done this, just click run, and let's have a look how it looks like. Let's speed up a little bit. And yes, I implemented that buildings would be also not spawned immediately, but after some time. So let's build some other buildings. Maybe a bit more, that spawning would be faster. There are some buildings like windmill especially, which allows to speed up spawning units. So if I increase resources, if I make more windmills, my units will spawn a bit faster. So let's get started with these ones, and let's make, okay, for this one I guess it's enough 30 because it will be rectangular formation, and it will be very good to show all things like rotations and other stuff which I implemented. So finishing spawning. And okay, let's move units, and at the destination they will form formation of this assumed form from texture. At the moment it is not perfect, but we can see the contours of rectangle where units are standing. It's usually achieved not in the first move because I still need to implement some nav mesh features before I will get it working properly. So, but if I move next time, I can start seeing that formation is getting very perfect shape. And now, interesting point, if formation is aligned to the direction where I move, so this time I moved that way, but if I move now from this point, let's say somewhere a little bit that way, I can see that formation is rotating as well, and it is remaking formation in a bit different way that units would be aligned to the direction where they move, and yes, so once I keep moving, they are also rotating, for example, like that, and you can see that rotation is starting to appear all the time. If rotation is very suddenly, it messes up a little bit, but I'm looking forward how to fix it. For example, if I click backwards, so these units becomes in a front, and basically formation is twisting like 180 degrees, and it messes up a little bit for a while. But if I keep clicking again, it rearranges finally a little bit better, and finally we get our formations back. So this was a formation for rectangle. Here is also I set a specific width between, as we have here a grid, I set a gap size between these grids. So if formation is ideal, it should be fixed very nicely, so we can see a nice grid here. But developer is allowed to choose size whatever he wants, and basically it depends the size of the whole formation and how large are gaps between all these units. So let's go ahead and take a look at another kind of formation, because this rectangle one looks kind of boring. So let's choose this one, crescent one. I didn't try this one before, but I think it will be quite good. It should be that formation would take place in a front of this. It would be like a attacking front formation. So if I click run, and again I need to build up and speed up things to make sure that it would look nice. Yes, build up barracks, build some farms, make resources for now to speed up. Factory, this one, and this one's windmills. Oops, there are some bugs. When it misclicks, it can select second building I may need to rule out this bug. Yes, even these ones which are okay. So let's go ahead and make again. This time we have crescent, so it may be better to have a bit larger number of units, let's say 50. It will be more clear the contours of the formation. Maybe I will put one more windmill. Yep. Keep building. And I updated a lot with AI things. They are working now much better. They are sending groups towards nations, and it looks sometimes groups getting very big, and it looks really impressive. So here we have probably all of them. Yes. So if I move this way, it will start form this crescent formation now. We see now that units starting to spread to go towards their positions where they have to be. Will it be not backside? Not quite sure. It looks like it's backside at the moment. I may need to flip a texture in order to make it properly. But for example, we can see a shape very clearly that it's a crescent shape. Let me rotate a little bit like that. It's a crescent shape. We can see nicely that unit standing on it. And basically this kind of crescent which encloses the central area. If you have something like units here, it can be nice to have this kind of formation. But if you are attacking, let's say, something else, you may want to have this side in the front. So yeah, so basically we used two textures now. I also made this one funny texture of rings or bicircle, which basically white means that units are allowed to stay, and black one doesn't allow it. So if I use this one, where are my formations? I just drag this one and run. And speed up things. So it's finally built. Okay, windmills. This one I may take 70 units at least, because these circles are not very trivial to see. Okay. Oops. You see, there are bugs. Okay. Not like I want. Okay. bit more, and now we can start spawning. 170 this time. Probably you noticed I wrote a small roadmap, so this formation topic is a little bit more covered now. Of course, I need to implement a bit more features like checking up which positions. For example, there are things like if you move formation onto zones which are not allowed, you may end up in not very nice things. Or maybe, for example, if you have formation on the hill, it can be that one side ends up in one side of hill and another side in another side of hill. So so probably it's the best idea that formation would stay just in one side of hill, because it's not natural that formation would be splitted in two sides just because there is a hill in the middle of formation. So basically, I guess it could be more reasonable to have when you click, it depends to which side of hill clicking location is more close, and based on that, in that side I should bring the entire formation, not in one side one part and in another side another. So here we should have this bicircle formation, and let's go ahead and take a look how it looks like. So we're starting to see that units are spreading around into more circular form, and finally here we go. Yep, so we have this outer circle and there is this smaller inner circle. Even in the first time this formation looks like quite nicely, but if I refresh it, it will probably look even more nicer. Yep. Yeah, so you have this kind of formation, but there is one thing which I noticed just now, not now, but I knew it for a little bit of development for these formations. For example, there is a gap here, and here is a bit overcrowding. So this is because I starting with a square and I only apply white pixels of my texture to where units can stand. But as it goes from the one side of a square, it fills up all these positions firstly, and if there is not enough units, it keeps some small empty gaps there. So I may be implementing it a bit later, but at the moment I see pretty good results already with all these formations. I think more important thing is to implement things with more reasonable distribution of these formations around obstacles and hills and something like that. This gap is, I don't think it's very reasonable at the moment to look very much into details. Yeah, but yeah, so this basically unifies the idea about formations to bring any kind of possible formation. So how we do that? We have textures like these ones. You can make them with GIMP or with Paint or with whatever you want. Just make sure you making a in more like black and white ones, but it doesn't need to be completely black. I basically implemented function which calculates that calculates brightness of the color. So if brightness is so if I have colors, I have values between 0 and 1 in R, G, and B channels. And I am summing and dividing by 3 to get the total brightness of the of pixels. So due to that, you don't need to be very strict that these colors would be very white, not for example a little bit grayish, or these ones doesn't need to be very black. Just make sure that if you use black and white, make sure that it's pretty dark and here is pretty white, and keep everything else for uRTS to work out. Next thing, when you make a texture like that, like a circle or crescent or anything like that, you want to choose not the texture but advanced, and to select read write enabled to make sure that it could read pixels for formations. Otherwise you will get errors here. So be careful with that. Yeah, so basically you can do any kind of texture. You can make like a grid if you want a grid texture which will bring formation in an interesting way, like squares with bigger gaps and squares with smaller gaps and so on. Yeah, and and playing with these parameters like gaps between units also gives a little bit of control what you want to see and what you want to do. So this concludes my video. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Windmill especially, which allows to speed up spawning units. So if I make increase resources, if I make more windmills, my units will spawn a bit faster. So let's get started with these ones, and let's make, okay, for this one I guess it's enough 30 because it will be rectangular formation and it will be very good. So for example, here I made 5 textures which basically shows the formation, and here we have, let's say on this texture we would be circle formation, and white color means that units should be should be in this place, while black colors means that zones are forbidden. For example, here I have rectangle formation, which is very simple, just to highlight some pixels in white and leave the black ones there. So how it actually works. Let's have a look. Here I made a formation game object. Where is it? I cannot see at the moment. It should be here. And here I have this formation mask texture, which allows to choose one of it. So let's grab this one and use it for now. Hello everyone, so in this video I will cover long-awaited topic about formations. I implemented quite a unique way to make formations in any kind of assumed form. For example, it can be that formation looks like not just a square formation, but also let's say a circle or a rectangle. And moreover, I allow developers to use their own shape of formation in terms of their textures. Once you've done this, just click run and let's have a look how it looks like. Let's speed up a little bit. And yes, I implemented that buildings would be also not spawned immediately, but after some time. So let's build some other buildings. Maybe a bit more, that spawning would be faster. There are some buildings like windmill,